I'm doing it to an interface tour type thing, just like I did on Final Cut Express, but now I'm doing it on Livetype. This video again was requested by NastyBoys123. This is called the canvas. It's where you view previews and your project as you're making it. And basically that's it. You view your titles in the canvas when they're in the timeline, I mean. The inspector is where you type your text. So I can type iTalkApple. And then down here, you can also type it in this box. And then down here you can change text, style, effects, timing, and attributes, which I'll go over a bit later. Then this is your media browser, and you have tabs, live fonts, fonts, textures, objects, and effects. Your media browser is a lot like the inspector, but your media browser adds effects to the text and backgrounds, but the inspector has to do with the appearance of the text itself. And then down here you have a timeline, again, just like in Final Cut Express, and it's called Untitled because I haven't saved it yet. And you have a playhead here. Here's my text layer, it's yellow. Different layers show up as different colors. Text layers are goldish yellow, textures are light blue, and effects are purple. I don't remember what color the objects are. And then here it says O1. I'm not sure what the exact definition of this is, but I'm pretty sure that because if you add a texture to it, your timeline, it'll come up as O2 because you can apply effects to your textures and you can apply effects to your text. If you apply an effect to your text, the effects layer will show up under your text layer, but if you apply it to your textures, it'll show up under your textures layer under O2 and not O1. That's my definition. Here's your in and out points. You can change those. Then you have this little scroll bar just like in Final Cut Express, but if I shrink it here, I'll have to scroll through it. And then here, that's basically the same thing. And then this is snapping, which I told you what that is in my Final Cut Express video. Okay, now in the inspector, I'm going to go over it in more detail. Okay, so here's your text tab. You can change the alignment, the size, tracking and leading. Size is how big it is, obviously. Tracking is how far apart the letters are from each other, and I don't know what leading is. Whenever I change it, it doesn't seem to do much, so you can change your style here. So there's a few tabs: shadow, glow, outline, and extrude. So you can add shadow, change what layer it's in, so it can be in front, behind, or in front. If you add a shadow in front, it looks like this. You can change the color, opacity, the blur, the scale, which is how big it is, the offset, which is how far away it is from the actual text, and then you can distort it, make it come from different angles. Glow is adding a glow, change the color of it, and you can change the layer it's in. If it's behind, it's harder to see. And the opacity, the blur, the scale, offset, and the color, same as shadow. You have the same options. Outline, you can enable the outline, change the color, and then you can change the weight of the outline, which is how thick it is, and it'll change how thick the letters are. And then you can check show outline only, which means it'll only show the outline and the shadow layer. And then extrude, if I enable that, now you can see the extrude there better. it makes it look a lot more three-dimensional. And you can change the length of it. The effects, I don't have any effects here, and so they don't show up. And then active parameters, which I have a video about what you can do if you play around with this. Basically, you can add more keyframes and make it, let's say if the letters were flying away, you can make them change colors when they're flying away or something like that. Timing, change the delay from where it starts, the duration. Attributes is the actual color of the text. So if I change it, see the color on the inside changes. And then you have the same options here as everything else except for here you have hue, saturation, and lightness. So that basically changes the color if you mess around with it a lot. And then matte. Matte, basically, if you have a texture and you click apply to matte. Okay, that's not a good example. Live fonts are animated fonts, basically. And you have two categories. Fonts are fonts that you can change. And then textures are basically, it's a background to your text layer. Soap bubble. And if I click apply to matte, this is what matte looks like. You can't really tell, but basically the texture is gonna be inside here. Hit apply to new track. Comes up in my timeline as a blue layer. Like I said earlier, because it's a texture layer, it'll be blue. Then you have objects, which are objects. These are useful for if you're creating a lower third, you could have the lower third on the object, so it's kind of like a background to that. If you want your video to still be up here in the background, you just want a lower third with some decoration. Effects. You have several categories, and then it gives you a preview in this window here, and it gives you a description of the effect. So this effect uses the glow channel to stimulate dirt. Okay, so if I apply the effect, look what happens. I don't want that. See how it got applied to my texture layer? As you can see, well, I explained this how I had O1 and O2. Right now, my O2 is selected, and I selected the texture layer, so the effect got applied to the texture layer. So make sure that when you apply an effect, if you want it to be applied to the text, you click on the text layer. So now if I click apply, the effect in purple shows up under your text. So if I play that, that's what it looks like. I can change what color this is easily, but I'm not going to show you how to do that right now because this is not a tutorial. You can drag all your layers out and so on. So now if I go back into the effects tab, if I select the effect, it shows up right here. I have the dirt stop effect, and these are the active parameters. I can add parameters, so I can make this a different color as well. Glow color. See, it's orangish right now. If I change it to green, okay, now it's green. So, but I was only on that keyframe, so it only changed that keyframe to green. But I do have a tutorial on this, so that's pretty much all. Sorry if this video was kind of long.